Hello everyone, and now welcome to Game 2 in the series between Mouse Sports' HasuObs and Team Liquid's TLO. Game 2 taking place here on Daybreak, as HasuObs has spawned as the blue Protoss on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Liquid TLO spawning as the red Zerg on the bottom left, after a very, very impressive head fake by HasuObs in Game 1. Game 1, HasuObs went for a quick Stargate, went into a Void Ray, and only one Void Ray. By training up one Void Ray and one Void Ray only, he kind of forced or head faked TLO into trying to go to a quick Spire. That quick Spire ended up being the death of him, as that quick Spire and trained up a whole bunch of Mutalisks, only to find that HasuObs instead was going into Sentry Warp Prism Stalker play. As you guys all know, Sentries and Stalkers very, very effective against those Mutalisks, as the Guardian Shield generally or greatly reduces the amount of damage that Glaive Worm Bounce does. And Stalkers and Sentries together have enough DPS to focus down those units. Now, let's take a look, as we are going to be going into a drone back down over here, and HasuObs already in position to block. And with the block here, what is TLO going to be doing? TLO instead going for a quick spawning pool back here at the very front door, and that is a very smart play by TLO. TLO knows, you know what, that's not a normal place where you place that spawning pool, but I already know that I'm going to get blocked. And placing a hatchery, this drone was already out of position. Let me just hurry up and throw down a spawning pool there, as we are going to see the drone. Is it the drone? Yes, the drone does morph into a hatchery in time. Meanwhile, we are looking at a gateway already up. Now, HasuObs with that fast gateway now going into a simulator should be also getting up a cybernetics core. And you may be wondering, what sort of defense does HasuObs have in store? The defense that he has in store will greatly rely on the mothership core. That mothership core is very effective at handling early Zerg harassment, as long as you can get that mothership core out semi-quickly. By getting that mothership core out, you can turn that Nexus at the natural expansion and give it that photon overcharge, or the ability to just give it that 13 range cannon that is oh so strong. TLO behind this is going for a third hatchery, so HasuObs doesn't really have to be concerned about any sort of early Zergling aggression, as you can see that TLO is going into that economic game. Now, TLO just wandering around the map still with these overlords. Parking. Oh, I thought he was going to park himself right off over here. That is not going to be the case. You can see there is a probe off here. And does TLO know that there is a probe there? I do not believe so. But HasuObs pretty much going, you know what? I cannot really do much of anything about that. So let me just go ahead and back off. You can see now, no mothership core as of yet. Oh, no, Mothership Core is already out, excuse me. Mothership Core is already being trained over here at the natural expansion, excuse me. As the Mothership Core does move fairly fast, and it may try to play a little bit of an aggressive play over here at the third base. Now, HasuObs should be able to place out a pylon here, and alongside that warp gate tech, be able to move out with Zealots and a mothership core if he so chooses. Zealots now looking to perhaps back away. This is not going to be a good position for him. Zerglings are there, as well as the Zealots are deciding to back off. Oh, this could be potentially bad. The Zerglings... Nope, deciding to run through the fog and nothing else, as the Stalkers and the Mothership Core getting off some easy shots here. One Zergling will get taken down, as HasuObs does a little bit of first blow damage, picking up a fleeing Zergling. So far, Zealots now holding position here at the other Zelnaga Watchtower. Stalkers, Zealots just off together here in this little bit of a cloud, as we now have HasuObs just trying to defend on 3 bases. You can see that there is 2 gateways here, 1 forge here, pylon now warping in, and will be able to reinforce this. There is no mothership core, I don't believe. No, the mothership core is here, and HasuObs may actually come out to be a little bit aggressive. Here we go. Mothership core is in the air. There is that time warp. It doesn't do very much once the units are already in position, but those Zerglings are moving rather slowly. All right, that queen. Oh, that queen may actually get taken down. That could be bad news for the queen. Oh, the queen's almost survives, as we now continue to see that fight there. That time warp actually made a huge difference. That queen off of creep and stuck in a time warp, moving extremely slow, taking a tremendous losses. Now zealots and stalkers now trying to engage here. Are the Zerglings perhaps going to be able to get off another necessary flank? I don't believe so. The mothership core, the zealots all in position, and this is a perfect position to defend, as the Zerglings and the stalkers are just battling it out. The zealots, however, kind of getting surrounded, and the constant reinforcements of zealots from HasuObs, a bit painful for TLO to deal with. All right, a lot of tech going on back over here, a lot of hidden tech. Meanwhile, zealots, stalkers still moving forward once again. And will TLO perhaps lose another queen? That could potentially be a very sad situation, as the drones now going to get taken down. Here we have a hatchery already taking a bit of a beating. Zerglings, and now queen's trying to come back in over here. Banelings arriving to the party just in time to take down a whole bunch of zealots. And what is going to be happening here? This mothership core trying to get in even more kills. I do believe it will continue to rack up those kills, but it cannot afford to go up against a queen by his lonesome self. And there you have a bit of a reprieve in the aggression. HasuObs this time losing out a bit more. Production tab does show level 1 weapons upgrade coming in, but what is this? Enduring Locust now being trained up at the infestation pit. Swarm hosts in the near future. And what sort of detection does HasuObs have? Observers already being trained. You can see multiple gateways being established. Once again, we are going to be running on a total of 6 gateways, 1 photon cannon, as well as the zealots still in a very forward outpost, constantly warping in. And this is actually freeing up a lot of gas for HasuObs. The problem is that HasuObs has not figured out what he wants to spend his gas on yet. All right, the photon cannon, Overseer does move very quickly here, and now going to be hiding off behind the mineral patch. Is it going to perhaps come in for another run? However, Phoenix and photon cannon in position, as we are now adding in more reinforcements. Where are those swarm hosts? And in comes the swarm host here by TLO. Is it going to be enough? Overlord now trying to get off some damage onto those, or trying to get away from some damage, as the Void Ray getting off some easy kills here. Is it going to be enough? Another Overlord could get shot down. Yes, it is. Is the third Overlord going to get shot down? That could have been a lot of damage potentially, but the Void Ray does decide to back off. Damage goes from 20 damage a second to 32 damage a second. Very significant, as this one proxy pylon is finally going to get cleaned up. Zealots and sentries now making a move down. It looks as though this sentry, oh nope, this Overlord does need to get shot down here, and it will fall in just a moment. Meanwhile, we can see Phoenixes now trying to clean up across the map. What is going to be happening here? Is the Phoenixes perhaps going to destroy or shut down some of those swarm hosts, as the Phoenixes are now hiding or trying to find this last Overlord in the corner? And the losses are still racking up for TLO. We are still relatively close, though, as the Harvester count sitting at 57 drones versus 53 probes. Now, one Void Ray just sitting here at the Zelnaga Tower going, you know what, I can't kill any of you guys, but I can make sure that all of you guys are at least forced to pull away just a bit. And it looks like some of those Zerglings will get taken down. Meanwhile, oh, a Nidus Worm now coming into play. And is HasuObs going to spot this? This is always a very scary moment for a Protoss player, when they hear the crackling of the worm breaking through the crust. And now out moves all of these swarm hosts. So swarm hosts are out on the field, and they could be dealing a lot of damage here in just a moment. Why are there drones here? I'm not even sure, as creep tumors could be placed down in just a second. All right, where is TLO going with all of these units? Spore crawlers being added. for extra defense as a second Nidus Worm now about to come up from the crust. The Locusts do have Enduring Locust, as you now see all this damage is being dealt to take down these destructible rocks. There is a second one there. No creep tumors as of yet, as the Queens are the perfect anti-air here. Banelings now getting popped one at a time in the air, but at what cost, as the Phoenixes are also getting sniped down as well. All right, here we go. Queens are off over here. Zerglings are in position. 3 bases to 2, and if you did not notice, TLO is actually staggering the waves of these locusts so that it's not just one giant wave but 2 smaller waves pushing their way through. This does make it a little bit more difficult to break this down, but what we'll be seeing next, as the Queens should perhaps be laying down some creep tumors. And what is going on? Locust now trying to push their way in. However, Void Rays and Mothership Core coming in from the far side. Locust very, very slow, and now trying to deal damage back towards those units. There is, I believe, a couple of observers here. And now we need to see perhaps a rooting of the Spore Crawler. And is it going to be enough? Spore Crawlers are going to be rooting themselves. They're going to be going after those Void Rays and also those Observers. Observers are now all pushed back, as there is still 15, count them, 15 Swarm Hosts on the field. All right, the Spore Crawlers making it nearly impossible to get close with any of those Observers. That is going to be a problem, to say the least, as the Locusts are now coming out to engage and take down the Forge and perhaps break this front door. This is one of those instances where TLO just needs the right composition of units, and he should be able to just win his war of attrition, as these Locusts are free units that are getting sent to their death, but not before dealing at least a little bit of damage on the rest of this Protoss army. Wave after wave, and now with Vipers coming into play, those Vipers are going to be able to pluck Colossi, pull them close into a sea of Locusts, and then have them all taken down. All right, Locust gonna go ahead and engage here. Damage is being dealt. Colossi now on the move, retreating. Locusts all getting torn up here, but still the warp gates are still taking a bit of damage. More and more units now coming in from the far side. The Queens do know about this. The Swarm Hosts now redirecting their focus down here. Creep tumors are getting destroyed. And what is happening next? Vipers need to start plucking, and is this gonna happen? That is the key question, as you now see evolution chambers, a little bit of feeding frenzy going on. All right, the main Protoss ball, HasuObs, trying to defend against this, and the Swarm Host still going unanswered. A lot of Protoss players in general don't quite have an answer for this particular strategy. Spore Crawlers, and wait, where in comes the Swarm Host again. The Swarm Hosts are going to be making their another move in. The Swarm Hosts do need to back off. There goes one Swarm Host, as we now perhaps see the Vipers are going to be going in for a pluck. No pluck possible, as they actually walked, or only one pluck was possible, as they walked through that time warped space there. Those Locusts moving extremely slowly, trying to get through. And it looks like they will be able to get there in time. All right, Queens now making another move forward. Let's look. Are the Vipers going to be able to pluck off anything once again? Perhaps taking a Colossus or two. There it is. A very, very large pluck, as the Colossus now gets taken down. Blinding Cloud also being added, making it even more difficult for those Stalkers to engage. The strength of the Vipers and the strength of Zerg really being shown here, and TLO pretty much going, what are you gonna do? I pretty much have the exact composition of units that I need, and I'm also hitting your 4th base as well. Income, what is that, 60 drones, 67 probes. Income is about even, as there is another pluck of a Void Ray, but the Void Ray does not get taken down. More devouring, as well as the evolution chambers will in fact get devoured to death. There we have it, another evolution chamber now taken down. Broodlings pretty much destroyed there. Locusts now making their way into the base, and will in fact try and take down this base and this nexus here. All right, 13 damage a second pretty much, or probably 20 damage a second, takes it down. And now the Locusts are still unrelenting as they continue this push forward and forward. Locust now making their move forward alongside a whole bunch of swarm hosts. Locust could have perhaps caught a Colossus on the move. Not quite sure why it didn't, as we now see this forward position. So much creep, so much aggression, as Blinding Cloud taking down so many of those stalkers. All right. Are we going to perhaps see a little bit more plucking action going on? Locust coming in from the top, Locust coming in from the bottom. And this is just absolutely slow bleeding to death here, as TLO has just taken a knife into HasuObs' economy and is slowly letting him bleed out. But what is this? Stalkers and Colossi now making a move forward. It looks to be dealing a lot of damage here. The swarm hosts are now trying to reinforce. How many swarm hosts are on the field? Down to 19. And I can't believe I'm saying down to 19 on swarm host count, as the Vipers, with so much Blinding Cloud, is forcing this entire Protoss death ball to retreat. 177 supply versus 174, and it looks like with the combination of Blink and Colossi, HasuObs is starting to mount up a favorable defense. Now, on top of that, the swarm hosts are actually getting graviton beamed and picked up, and this is rather scary. Those swarm hosts need to be burrowed to do anything. And now, what is happening here, as the swarm host count now down to 17, even after so many swarm hosts has fallen, TLO still has an impressive number of swarm hosts, and now TLO looking to establish up a fourth base of his own. All right, let's see what will be happening next. Locust Vipers need to perhaps get in a couple more abductions in. Queens getting in a lot of transfusions to try and save their lives. Locust now continuing to make their way forward, and Blinding Cloud. Why don't they just call it Dark Swarm and be done with it? All right, Colossus, Locust, both sides engaging. Queens are in the backfield. More swarm hosts have arrived. The Queens do, in fact, no armor on those units, and this is coming as a bit of a surprise. One of the greatest benefits of Locust is how durable they are, and with no armor upgrades and not even that many weapons upgrades, TLO is actually starting to slip. Dark Templars now looking to perhaps slip up inside here. You can see that there are, what is this? A Dark Templar and Zealots are going to get taken down pretty quickly. There you go. Zealots now all going to get picked off, and those Zealots do have a bit of a foot race advantage, as the swarm host now going to be pressuring this bottom right hand side once more. TLO with double Nidus Worms now bringing over even more drones for more evolution chambers and more spine crawlers and spore crawlers. Dark Templars trying to make their way in. Okay, we're going to see another attack here. Stalkers are engaging. Overseers all getting taken down, as the swarm hosts and the Vipers making a deadly 1-2 combination of units, making sure that none of those units are able to engage. All right, it looks as though one swarm host, fungal growth catching a lot of the units there. Infestors being added. There's a pluck, a beautiful pluck there, as a Colossus now gets taken down. Queens now being brought over. The Queens very strong against those Void Rays, since they are not armored units, but with so many Colossi backing up, we have to wait for those swarm hosts to come out with a new wave of units as well. A beautiful fungal growth, as the Queens are battling against the air, swarm hosts now battling against the ground, and I don't know if this is how Blizzard intended Queens to be used. Bring creep over, and all of a sudden you have a range of 7 Goliath. That's essentially what this is, an old school Goliath that can heal and also place down creep tumors. So a very strong composition or combination there. Is the swarm host going to be able to burrow in time? Yes, it will. And at 15 hit points, it does survive, and those swarm hosts are engaging. Observer quickly brought over. Meanwhile, the main Protoss death ball being brought over here. Stalkers blinking back. Colossi, Stalkers, both sides engaging in this war of attrition, and HasuObs somehow has an expansion on the other side of the map that has yet to be spotted. That is a very gutsy move if it sticks around for very much longer. All right, in comes the Stalkers. Stalkers now taking down a couple of these units, and it looks like a lot of damage was dealt, but new swarm hosts now arriving on the scene. All right. I don't believe probes will be able to be transferred over to that base. This is going to be a rather difficult location for HasuObs. Dark Templar still wandering around here. and more locusts trying to sneak their way up onto the high ground. We are going to see Mothership Core now being added again. Locust all getting taken down. So much splash damage. So many locusts. And those locusts are just so powerful. Colossi with that very, very long extended thermal lance range. Corruptors being brought over only to get shot down. 1-2. A beautiful fungal growth though. Catching some of those units there. And is it going to be enough? Spore Crawler now taking down the fungal growth. Does not land as the Colossi able to finish off a couple of the lower ground units. It looks like HasuObs doing a great job here. And it feels like he has the perfect answer to whatever TLO has been trying to throw at him. But right now, the problem is that HasuObs is only running off of one real base. Everything else is just photon cannons guarding over here. Will he perhaps be able to get enough units into that location as overlords now being brought over? All right, let's take a look at the losses. Losses are about even. Stalkers may try to engage. The fungal growth could be coming in, though, as one Nidus Worm gets taken out. And what is this? All right, Zealots now finally warping in here as TLO wonders to himself, how long has this base been here? All right, Swarm Host going to get taken down in just a second. Down it goes. And what is happening? Meanwhile, a major attack going on over here. Corruptors, Void Rays are engaging. HasuObs pushing forward, but so much fungal growth happening. And the Stalkers are now just trying to blink in and engage. All right, Dark Swarm pretty much meaning that they do not have any, or Blinding Cloud pretty much having no range whatsoever. All units now taken out as well, as you see. All of these units now continuing to push forward. TLO sitting at 152. HasuObs sitting at 160. Corruptors and more units still being brought over. Void Rays. HasuObs, will he perhaps be able to establish this expansion? That is the key question, as this Dark Templar is just trying to take down locust after locust. You can see how much damage these locusts are doing and how effective they are. That time life very, very long, but TLO looks as though he's going to let this base stay here as more photon cannons now warping in. Stalkers engaging as well. Oh, all of these drones could get taken down. This is potentially bad news as HasuObs going after drone after drone. Are we going to get another blink forward? No blink forward as the drones are able to escape. However, HasuObs coming out ahead, and that just seemed like a very long battle, only to see HasuObs finally break his opponent. And what is this? A new nexus will be established here as soon as the creep recedes. And HasuObs looks like he's done something that I've seen very few Protoss players do, and that is hold off Swarm Hosts. However, what is this? Locust now continue to pick this off, and oh, not in time. And what a beautiful loss, as TLO might have done enough damage to fight his way back into things. Probes now doing a little bit of long-distance mining. A lot of long-distance mining done, as the Zerglings simply leaving them alone, trying to find perhaps another base there. Nothing of a sort, as the Zerglings now going to town on all of those free probes. Colossi and Void Rays now trying to make the trip all the way back home. It looks like there's 42 probes trying to mine gas. One probe stuck on the wrong side there. We'll see what will come of that. As HasuObs can... Oh, no, actually, HasuObs still cannot move into this group of units. Simply too many Corruptors. And the Greater Spire is already down, so we could transition into Broodlords. The problem is the TLO doesn't have that large of a bank either, so both players are kind of hurting for resources. TLO sieged his opponent for quite some time. And now, what is this? We're going to see 16 probes doing a bit of mining, a little bit of long-distance mining here, a whole bunch of changelings in the center portion. There is a couple of changelings still in that, I guess, puddle form, as we are now taking a look at what these zealots will be doing here. All right, Colossi making the move over. Stalkers with 2-1 upgrades, and the Swarm Hosts, the Queens now with still 1-0 upgrades. The lack of upgrades are still surprising to me at this point, as HasuObs now just still making its way over here. All right, 17 over 24 probes. It is going to be 4 bases to 4 bases total. 1 base mining for each. TLO has plenty of gas and plenty of larva at this point. And it looks like both of them don't want to engage just quite yet. Alright, Colossi, Mothership Core, Immortals, Void Rays, Stalkers. Oh, a single Stalker making its way in, gets impaled by a Spine Crawler, now backing off again. 2-1 upgrades on that one particular Stalker. We did get the shield upgrade, so those shields actually acting as a little bit of more beefiness. Zerglings still wandering around, and HasuObs still has yet to establish this expansion. That comes as a surprise to me, as Zerglings now trying to run in here. Void Ray. Oh, what is happening here? Cancellation on the Nexus. It could perhaps come in again, as we could see gateways being built up here. Once more, Locust being brought over. Locust dealing terrible damage. And more Locusts will be taken down again. Colossi coming in again. You can see how much damage all of those Locusts. And oh, a Viper almost gets sniped out of the sky. And HasuObs finally trying to establish up that center Zelnaga tower expansion. But this is just two massive armies that do not want to engage against each other, as they feel that a bad engagement will end up losing them the game. There's a fungal growth. It looks as though this one observer will get fungal growth to death. Yes, down it goes, as Corruptors now engaging. Alright, Broodlords, Broodlings dropping off the kids. Zerglings now trying to swarm. Are we perhaps going to see us flank? And yes, we are. We are going to seeing a flank come in from the far side. The main destructible rocks have been taken down. And here we go. Is HasuObs going to risk this all? That is the question, as the Zerglings are now wandering in. Photon cannons trying to engage against all of these Zerglings. The Zerglings look like they will be able to finish this all off, as the main battle force of HasuObs is caught out of place. However, a new Nexus is operational. Perhaps a Nexus over here is going to be in short order, as all of the photon cannons now getting destroyed. More probes getting chrono boosted out. And this fight is just never ending. Alright, Locust doing what Locust does, swarming and taking down a Nexus again. Zerglings will fall here. It looks as though another round of Locusts will finish off the center 6 o'clock expansion, as we see Zerglings still trying to be doing a bit of a run by. Where are they going to be going next? They're going to catch this base off over here completely without a Nexus still. Alright, flanking now coming in from the high ground. HasuObs does have a very, very mobile army. The slowest unit is that Mothership Core, and the Mothership Core is not that instrumental in dealing damage. Swarm Hosts, Broodlords, Corruptors now engaging, and here we go. We could have perhaps see a huge engagement here. The Stalkers are now trying to engage. Fungal growth, and this could be for all the marbles. Time Warp now coming in, as the Locusts are now engaging. You can see how much damage is being dealt. So many Swarm Hosts are getting taken down. Corruptors, Void Rays. There's still a good number of Void Rays in the air, but they are still fighting and taking down more units. And there is the GG. TLO falls behind 2-0 in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.